Welcome to Withdraw Consent. I'm Jack. So today I want to talk to you about this missile attack from Hezbollah that hit the soccer field in Israel, which sparked then the assassination in both Beirut, Lebanon, and Tehran, Iran. Nobody's really covering this, right? And it's interesting that when I read about it right when it happened, or the day after it happened, and then so I marked this article that I'm going to show you, and then there's been no reporting on it since. So the story never evolved. Usually they do evolve somewhat. So I'm gonna put down below if you want to read the story. It's an Al Jazeera reference, but it's an article called "Will Attack on Occupied Golan Heights Push Israel Hezbollah Towards War?" Okay, so I want to talk about what happened. Right? It was Sunday, July 28th, I believe, 2024, and a bomb landed on a soccer field, killing 12 children and young people and injuring 30 others, right? So Hezbollah immediately denied that they did it, right? And Israel immediately said Hezbollah did it. Well, Hezbollah's defense was interesting, right? They said, hey, we obviously didn't do it because we took credit for the 12. So this happened on a Sunday. We took credit for the 12 attacks on military targets the day before on Saturday. But of course, we wouldn't target a soccer field. Interesting line of thinking, because when you look at Hezbollah being a terrorist group, you think, okay, well, they're probably targeting soccer fields, right? No, they're targeting military targets. And you even think back to the Iran counterattack. The first, I don't know if the second one has happened by the time this is published, but when they shot all those missiles and stuff, they shot them at military bases, at military targets, right? And so basically what happens is Israel says that it's one of these, what is it, a Flock rocket, and that Hezbollah does use a Flock 1 rocket, right? And basically the United States official says that a Hezbollah official contacted the United Nations and said that it was a Israeli anti-air missile that malfunctioned and landed on their own field, right? And so basically, Israel did not provide any evidence that it wasn't an anti-air missile, that it wasn't their own missile. And that, the reason why I say that is because the story never developed. Normally, there'd be an investigation, there'd be updated reports. But if you look up this subject, they'll all go back to the 28th, 29th, and there won't be new articles on it, which is pretty interesting. And so basically, when this happened, so I'm not claiming at all that Israel intentionally attacked this community. Now, let me tell you where the community is at, right? It's in the Golan Heights, which is in the north. Okay. So in 1967, Israel won the Six-Day War, and they annexed the Golan Heights, which belongs to Syria, in 1981. The UN Security Council condemned them for doing that, and the world community still agrees that Golan Heights belongs to Syria, which is right next to Lebanon, even though Israel occupies it and has now got communities in there. And there's a lot of people in Golan Heights who are called Druze, Druze, and they're basically kind of a different people, and they live among the Israelis and they're on the side of the Israelis, but a lot of them aren't Israeli citizens. So when this happened and Israel came out and said, oh, all these Israeli citizens died, but it was a Druze community, so they probably weren't. It's neither here nor there because they're on Israel's side and they're under the protection of Israel. So basically the position of the United Nations and the European Union at this point is they tell Israel, hey, use caution. Because see, this is not a clear-cut case of, like, if you watch your CNN or even Fox, they'll say Hezbollah did kill the people on the soccer field. And that's why Israel's going to retaliate. They won't say that there's a controversy. If you look into it, it is controversial what happened. And it's unclear who targeted the soccer field. So let me just give you the long and the short of it. Either it was a Hezbollah rocket that accidentally hit the soccer field, or it was a Israeli anti-air rocket which accidentally hit. I do not believe that Hezbollah targeted the soccer field, and I do not believe that Israel targeted as a false flag type thing. I don't believe that. There's no evidence of that whatsoever. And so there's a part in this article, and it says, will this impact the Gaza ceasefire talks? And I find that kind of funny because then it gives paragraphs and paragraphs after that. But we know already, because we've advanced in history a little bit, that the retaliation for this is going to be both the assassination of a Hezbollah senior member in Beirut, Lebanon, and then it's going to be the assassination of a a political leader of Hamas who doesn't even live in Gaza or nothing in Tehran, who's the chief negotiator for the Gaza ceasefire right now and who's a moderate. And that's what I'm going to cover tomorrow because it's so fascinating. And so the whole excuse for Israel's because Israel retaliates for, say, the 12 attacks on Saturday against military targets by shooting at military targets in Lebanon. You know, that's how they retaliate. But for something like this, the kid's getting killed. Now they're assassinating. We're going to see it's going to be a bomb in his room sitting there for quite a while before he finally gets there. You know, like not even a day. Like it's going to sit there for quite a while. Anyways, I think it's pretty interesting. Also, like, imagine if your military messes up and one of your bombs falls on your own soccer field, and then you just blame the enemy because the propaganda is so on your side in countries like the United States and the EU and stuff. I don't know what they're getting in China and India and stuff. I don't know if they're getting accurate information, but you automatically think, oh, Hezbollah, yeah, they're trash. They're terrorists. They're on the terror list for United States, right? So they've got to have done it, obviously. But it's not like that at all. It's a group that's trying to liberate territory that nobody, the United States, agreed with them annexing. Even the UN Security Council didn't agree with it. You know, that it's in Golan Heights is so much more interesting too. Anyways, that's what I got for you. And this story is going to develop and because there's going to be lots of escalation if there hasn't already, like I said. And tomorrow we're going to cover the assassination of the Hamas guy, which is not even what I thought when I started. And we're going to go into stuff like the Beirut bombing. We're going to go back. We're going to go way back to the Beirut bombing where 241 U.S. soldiers were blown up. And we're going to see that that's kind of not what it was either. Anyways, it's interesting to understand these things, I think, in order to see where things are going. And hope to see you tomorrow.